Hello, clubbers. It's Jane Slacksmith here. And as we know, March is Capital Growth Month. And continuing in the vein that we have been doing every single Wednesday and Friday this month, I have a very, very special guest for you. And in actual fact, today, I have two guests for you. So stay tuned at 1 o'clock and come back on and we'll have a chat to someone else. But right now, we have someone who's a little bit of famous in our community. And I'm going to introduce you to Russel Burnt. Hey, Russel.
Hey, Jane.
Hey, you're out and about today. Where are you?
I'm in Clonbinane in the middle of a paddock this afternoon.
Good. Helping out friends, I hear.
I am indeed, yeah.
Oh, there it is. It is a paddock. Looks pretty dry out there.
It is a little bit. It hasn't rained for a month or so.
Oh, gosh. Rough. Well, Russel, we are here to talk all about capital growth, and no one better to chat to about growth and renovation is our Russel. So, Russel, I'm just going to give people a little bit of a catch up on your story. So, and correct me if I've made anything wrong here, but you joined our Ultimate Guide to Renovation course a couple of years ago now, and on the prompting of your daughter. I think she was in London at the time, wasn't she?
That's actually correct. I've forgotten that.
There you go. And congratulations on the new grandbub. And
terrific.
I think that from what I know is that it took you about 25 years of procrastinating and wondering if you should get into property investing. And all of a sudden, here you are, you've done it, you took the plunge, you did the course, you followed step by step. And tell us a bit about what you did and what you applied and what you bought.
Well, ever since we've been married, which is 1988, so that's a lot of years, 30 years,
yeah,
I think.
30 years, yep.
We've been wanting to buy more than just our own, and it was probably about 20... Sorry. Sorry.
This is the benefit of live. We get to see everything.
26 years later, we met a lady called Nadine, and she suggested we do a property group with a lady called Jane. And we did. And actually, we didn't even get through the course, and we bought a house. So that's how it kicked off.
God. And just tell us about the property you bought. So you looked at your borrowing capacity, what you could afford, the best areas, the capital growth, applied all of that kind of knowledge to it, and you bought in
Preston, West Preston, right on the border of Thornbury and Preston.
And so this is in Melbourne, for those of you who don't know this area.
It's about 7.5 k's from Melbourne, from the CBD. And initially,
how much did that cost?
640,000,
and
which was probably
probably
a little bit low for that. We didn't actually think we could afford Preston. We were going for a reservoir, which is a bit cheaper. And this house came up and nobody else seemed to want it except us. So that's how we got into Preston.
And tell me, on your long service leave, how long did you have to do a renovation? And tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite long service leave. It was 16 days. And the job I'm in, that's all they would give me. It was like 2 weeks and a couple of weekends.
Yep.
And we had to go really quite hard. And during the course of that time, we had stumps that had the house up. It had all lath and plaster on the walls, and as soon as we lifted it up, it all cracked.
Yeah.
And then we had to do all the plaster work. We replaced carpets, painted. We replaced the roof on the top. We did a picket fence out there and a little bit of mowing.
And tell me, what was the purchase price and the cost of the renovation and end valuation that you got 16 days later?
140,000 we paid, 16 days, and I revaluated it later, and it was just going back a few years now, like 2 or 3 years, but it was about 705 was the revaluation figure.
Huge uplift.
A little bit, yeah, and it cost us 8,300.
Nice.
And I was a bit dirty on that too.
So tell me, so the renovation itself, like, was fabulous. You found a property that obviously had capacity to be renovated, but also in an area that had that pricing disparity. So the difference between renovated and unrenovated allowed you to do an uplift and make money. You bought below the market. So we're talking, Trident strategy, buying below the market, renovating to add value. And the third prong of the Trident strategy is obviously capital growth. So let's fast forward 3 years later. What is it worth now, do you reckon?
Well, median price in Preston is $1 million, and we're right on the border of Preston and Thornbury. So, and I haven't had it valuated for at least a year, so I'm thinking around 1.1 to 1.2.
So we've gone from 800 to, let's say, 1.1, so another $300,000 in 3 years.
Well, that's like 500,000.
Well, and I guess that really the interesting thing here is that, when we look at the Trident strategy and your personal story, 25 years waiting. And I think, every time I interview people who have been really successful investors, one of the things that they say to me is, what's their biggest regret? And it's not, that, they didn't do a specific deal. It's that they didn't start sooner. So, You waited a while, you got into the market, you followed the process, you got the property right for renovation, you did a quick cosmetic renovation with capacity for it to be renovated further later. But that growth story of what you've achieved in 3 years is extraordinary. And I mean, obviously it's been a great growth period for Melbourne. But tell me, subsequently, what have you been able to do with that equity and your next purchase?
Well, I've just actually bought one, and in Brisbane, in the suburb of Boondall, which is about 20 minutes from the CBD. It's about 15 minutes from the airport, and Brisbane's going through quite a lot of infrastructure, especially with the airport. And there's a lot of local amenities around the Boondall area, which I'm going to capitalise. But we've bought another house that's undervalued, didn't look very good, and we'll go up there actually on the 9th of April. I'm driving up there with the dog you just heard a moment ago, and we might do a couple of weeks' work up there again.
Great. Well, we can't wait to hear the results about that. And I think, the fact that you've once again, I know you came into the office and we had a bit of a strategy session, John and I and yourself, and we looked at your dot maps for Melbourne, and we looked at your dot maps for Ballarat, I think too, didn't we? Ballarat
we did Ballarat, Bendigo.
Yeah.
But I'm quite keen on a lot of bang for your buck. I want equity quite quickly.
Yeah.
A buy and hold, but I like that hold to be really quick.
Yep.
As to making growth.
And just tell me, just out of interest, that property that you've got now in Preston, what have you seen in the rent and what the rent has done? Has it increased since you've done the improvements?
Well, in 3 years, it wasn't rented beforehand, and when I took over, I've already renovated. So we started on 440, and it's 480 now.
Okay. So it's been moving up.
And that's quite good for Preston as well. But it is a nice little home now.
Yeah.
But I think I found it really important with your 3 Trident criteria. If you can get 2 or out of the 3, I like to go for the 3. I think you can't really lose with that, and we've done that again. Under market, room for improvement through reno, and then capital growth. So I like the 3 out of 3.
Fabulous. And if people were, thinking about joining our club, our community, or doing one of our courses, what would you say to them?
Do it now. 26 years late too. I could have been retired by now, and it's not even hard. So I don't understand. Just do it. I don't understand myself.
Well, Russell, I really appreciate you taking some time, obviously, out of your busy day. And who knew you could do this in the middle of the country and tune in? But there's modern technology for us. So it just goes to show it's people who don't think they can buy in different states. You can use technology to do that too, and to chat to people and hear their stories. And I really appreciate
While I'm talking to you, I've got an excavator which I'm trying to sell, and there's a fella waiting for me. So
Well, we'll let you
pay
go
for the
and sell it.
renovations.
Go sell
Terrific.
it. Go sell it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Jane.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So guys, that's it. It's Capital Growth Month here in March. We are celebrating by shining the spotlight on some of our students and community members. And we're also talking to experts as well. So if you haven't had a chance to go back and watch some of the videos of the people that we've interviewed this month, last Friday, 12:30, we interviewed Sarah, who talked about her story where she had made a considerable gain of over $300,000 in 3 years as well by choosing the right suburb, how she used renovation of her home to increase the equity to make that first purchase, and how she has now, got some, family tragedies that come about and the need to go to one income, and she's being able to sell that property and pay off her home and get on and think about what's important to her, which is great. We had a chat last Wednesday to Peter Kalizis, who gave us a run around the states and looking at the growth and where it has come from in the last 20 years and some thoughts about what's happening in the next few years. And then just this Wednesday, we had a chat to Louis Christopher. Now, if you haven't listened to that video, please do, because he really gives some great insights of not just lag indicators of what to look for in good growth areas, but lead indicators. And he really goes through each capital city and talks about where he thinks the growth is and where we are for 2018 as well. So some really great insight. Next Wednesday at 12:30, I have Kylie Davis from CoreLogic RP Data joining us, and we're going to be talking all growth with her too. So if you have questions, please tune in and ask them. Otherwise, leave me, and when I schedule the Facebook Live, leave me a question there and we'll ask them online. So nothing too stressful, just ask the question and we will ask them. Now, coming up at 1 o'clock today, I have another one of our amazing community members, and we're going to be talking about growth and her strategies around growth as well. So please make sure that you join me or listen to the recording. All the best, and as always, here is to your property success.